All right. Okay. Let's get this meeting rolling here. I'm running a little late. Um, we want to welcome all new members. Do we have any new members that want to say, "Hey, I'm new. I want to tell you about me," and all that? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, welcome. Um, the right now our membership dues are $35. That's for the whole year. Um, we use that money to bring in professionals, which we've got a few lined up this year. So okay, so dues are $35. Our membership person is Gary, standing over here by the counter. He'll be happy to take your money and make sure that you get on our list. Um, once you once you are a member, you get our monthly newsletter, which is it not on? Yeah. Can we turn it up a little bit? Check 1 2, check 1 2, test 1 2. How's that? Oh, now it's too loud. Oh man, you. In our newsletter, if you get our newsletter, there's a link in there to go online and pay the dues. Of course, you don't get the newsletter unless you have been a member. If you're brand new, but if you're brand new, then you need to just pay the dues, and you'll be here paying Gary, and then they'll get you on the newsletter. So if you're trying to renew your dues, the newsletter has a link to our Square account. That last I checked, it was working. I haven't checked it in. Yeah, it's a Square account. So that's where you can renew our dues online. With our dues, we have a library, we have a sharpening station, we have a couple of sharpening stations, raffle table, coffee and donuts, and all that good stuff. So let's see, moving on down. This month's demonstration is going to be lathe maintenance. George is going to replace the bearings in this lathe. Because we have a lathe with bad bearings and we think this is it, but we don't. We've had a hard time narrowing that down. So, but we're going to change them anyways, and we'll just save the old ones in case it's the wrong lathe. As long as you get them out good, you can reuse them, And then if we have time, I'm going to show how to go through and clean out a Nova Super Chuck, a Supernova Chuck. Because if you have those, eventually you got to clean them things out and do some maintenance on them. Yeah. That's next month's demonstration is the Celtic. I call those Celtic wedding goblets. There's a whole little story that I put on a card when I sell those at the gallery. So, but yeah, so that's next month's demonstration. The goblet with the interweave rings. In April, our demonstration is going to be Tracy Lee. If you've gotten the latest episode of the AAW magazine, she's featured in it. I don't know, can you get that on there? So she does some beautiful work. She's going to be here in April. We're going to have a Friday workshop. And then she'll do our demonstration Saturday morning. And then after the Saturday meeting, we're going to have just a short 2-hour workshop afterwards. So there'll be some chances to do some work with her and sharpen up your embellishing skills. We will have sign up and all that next month at our meeting. So people can sign up and get into that class. So that'll be in April. Yes. That's going to be on Saturday. Yeah. On Friday, I think we will turn a platter and then embellish it. But on Saturday, I think that class, we're going to ask people to bring in their own turned item that they want to embellish. And then they'll do that in the afternoon. I think that's everything I have here. Go ahead, Tom.
So good morning. I'm Tom Penninga. Occasionally we arrange tours for the guild to go see something then related to wood turning. And some people ask me about the belt drive lathe at the museum. There's 4 members here I know that work there weekly. There's Dave Miller, Steve Payne, Jim Rosen, and myself. So if any of you are interested in seeing an older wood lathe working with a belt drive and how it's used at the museum, I will arrange that after our next meeting, which would be in March. After our meeting in the afternoon, we would go there and have a tour of that lathe and how it works. And Jim said he would demonstrate how he makes tops on it, and maybe we can get Dave Miller to do that. But anyway, if you're interested, see me after the meeting or at the break. And if there's enough people interested, we'll arrange it. But it's kind of, the lathe was built in 1894. It's really a crappy lathe compared to what they have today, but you have to learn to work around its characteristics. So, well, yeah, but they're Babbitt bearings, so that's not easy. And they did a poor job of it. But anyway, if you're interested, see me about it. And if there's 4 or 5 people interested, we'll set that up. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a cool old lathe. Yeah, Carl. Carl, right? What's that? I haven't talked to him in the last month. I don't know if anybody, have you talked to Ron? Anybody?
But he's pressed about his condition. It's not like he would like, he still has the shapes. But the day I talked to him, he was actually doing some power carving. I said, great, they're creating. I mean, what could be better? But yeah, he's just frustrated that he can't get better quicker. But doing good.
Okay. The turning for troops, we still have pens back there if you want to take home some pens and turn for troops. Was that it on that, turning for troops? And then another note, on the day of our meetings, they won't open those doors before 9 o'clock. So don't go walk around knocking on all doors trying to get in. It's been a little bit of an issue. So we just need to be patient and hang out in our cars until 9 o'clock. So, or 3 minutes too. I walked out at 3 minutes too and stood there. So, and they wouldn't let me in. No, they ignored me. So even I don't get in early. So let's see. Now I think we can probably move on to show and tell. If you have something for show and tell, come on up, place it on the table here. We need to get a light here, and then say your name into the mic, and you can just kind of stand back here and talk, and it'll pick you up pretty well. And come down the outside, and then you can exit back out the middle or wherever you want to exit.
And you guys online know the drill. Raise your hand in Zoom if you have something that you want.
Yep, right there. Good morning. My name is Kevin Thomas. I've been coming for a while without anything in my hands, and I got. Oh, I can yell without it. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, better this time. I've been coming without anything in my hands. I've been really bummed because I'm like, I need to give something to you guys to show you that yes, I can turn. Tripped onto this plan on YouTube. Somebody just did it with a copper tube in the top as a dead blow, and it took me like 20 minutes to do. So I've got Peruvian rosewood with the copper 1¼ inch T, white oak, walnut, and the overall weight is 1 pound, 10 ounces. So it does have a little bit of heft to it. What do you have inside? Actually, copper BBs. So, I just crammed a whole bunch in. Ross was sitting there looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, we'll figure this out when I get it done. The 2 top parts are actually scrap. So I'm like, I got to do something with it. So, but yeah, it's that. And another one is going to my niece because she's doing furniture working over in Livonia. And she's like, oh, this would work well for me. So she's getting a smaller version because she's all about that tall.
My name is Jim Pope. My wife came up with this idea. We have a bunch of kids and some married grandkids who are into making money these days, that time of their life. She thought it'd be a great idea to make them a bowl and throw some money into it. So I bought some rolls of pennies at the bank and made this out of deep pour epoxy. And I put $1 worth of pennies in every one of them. The one thing is you don't always get nice pennies. Some of them are corroded, so I bury those under the better looking pennies, but there's $1 worth in each one. It's kind of a heavy bowl because of solid base and you have to do it in layers. So it's heavy and I keep the walls a little thicker than I would normally do some of them, but it's because I want to keep the color and not have them fade out into transparency. So that's about it. I call it a personal wishing well. It's already preloaded for you. I put them in a pressure pot, but I usually let them bleed out with air as much as I can, and use a torch to take it out, because this stuff takes forever to cure it. Each layer takes 3 days to cure before you can go to the next layer. So it takes them almost 12 days to do this before I can put it on a lathe and turn it, because there's 3 layers or 4 layers in each one. So
You have plastic bowls for corners?
I do. I use just plain cheap plastic bowls I bought at Walmart, and then I do use the size I want. Then the next size lower is inserted to kind of save some of the resin. But the base is solid, so that's why it's heavy. And then I put the clear in last. So it's just an idea that my wife came up with. So I thought it was just a fun project.
Good morning. I'm Gary Humphreys, the fellow that keeps track of memberships. I've got a very accurate computer record, and when you pay your dues, I put the 2026 on your name tag. And there have been a couple people that have paid their dues, but I couldn't find your name tags to put the 2026. So I've got record of those that have paid, but if you don't have the 2026 on your name tag, come up to me and I'll double check that you have paid, but I'll give you the 2026. So just wanted to say that. A while back, I saw a basket weave pattern bowl, and I thought, well, I can make that. And so I have made a couple of them and I brought them in for show and tell. And then I was given the opportunity that in May, I'm going to give a demonstration here as to the technique I've developed for making them. So this is just a preview. These are 3 examples of basket weave pattern. Those are all turned bowls that the horizontal lines have been turned into the bowl and the vertical lines have been wood burned into them. And once you have that, you can see it best here. You have a nice grid, and you can put all sorts of patterns in there. This one I made up myself, that those are people all holding hands under the sun, and just start looking at Smithsonian or National Geographic or any other magazines. In fact, this month's AAW magazine had a very pretty one with Valentine hearts done in it. So this is a preview. In May, I'll take you through the steps in making them. I've been collecting some pictures so that we'll try and make it interesting. Another interesting aspect is that's cherry. This is the sister bowl of that one, meaning they both came out of the same chunk of the log of cherry, but that one had a knot in it, so I turned it into a basket weave, and this one is just a traditional cherry bowl. And of course, this is just the natural edge, which is also from the same tree trunk that I cut down. So, thank you.
Dave Curley. Um, this is a result of the shape of the bowl. This is sassafras wood. The shape is a kind of a traditional natural edge shape with feet on it. And that was kind of inspired after I took a Rudy Lopez class down in West Michigan Woodturners in Kalamazoo. So I just, I did that. I did typically I'll, drill the holes in for the pine needle basket weaving to get attached to, and I generally embellish that so it's not just a raw, hole with, when you drill a hole, sometimes it breaks through and stuff like that. So try to give it a more finished look. Yeah, the other thing about this is when I do pine needle baskets, I like to leave pine needles that come off the basket, but they're generally brittle and they'll break off easily. So I also do 3D printing. And the first thing that my 3D printer does when it prints a piece is lays down about an 8-inch back and forth, and it's like a pine needle. So I use those as the finishing touch on that if I want to have something coming off, and I'm not afraid of those breaking off. So that's pretty much what I got going on there. So.
Hi, Jim Doan. Um, I saw this on YouTube. The guy made this ring. He made a 12 segment piece and then he cut corner to corner and then glued in pieces the same thickness and just went all the way around. So I tried it and I wanted to put it in something, so I made this. It's got a screw top. Um, I don't know what it's for, but I liked it. So thanks.
Ray Laniga. I was inspired by the professional we had here, Greg Galagos. Maybe some of you remember. I really appreciated his work. This is not the first piece I made. My wife, I appreciate her comments. The other two, she said, I don't want to use the word ugly, Ray, but I don't know what you're going to do with that. So after a couple iterations, I got this one. Instead of painting it black, I chose red and then black for the top. That's a similar one. Kind of just experimenting with different patterns. I like it a little better, so. But one problem I had with Greg, he made it look way too easy. So I finally figured out how to kind of emulate some of the things he did with this one here. Just maple bowls, lots of dust. That's it.
Daryl DeRuyter. Had a lot of little pieces that I put in my shop instead of the wood pile or into the wood stove. And it got to the point where I was tripping over them. I'll try hard, George. Better. At any rate, I had interesting little pieces that got in my way and starting to trip me in my shop. And I spent some time in the last month, made, I don't know, 15 or 20 small things. These are a few, there's a few more back on the table. the two smallest ones here are, I call them a cherry burl. I don't know if it's actually a burl. It's like a little pitch knot. You usually find it on younger cherry trees. I've harvested some larger burls with a similar pattern out of older trees. And this one is just kind of a joke. I was turning a little piece of oak and went right through the bottom of it, put it on a base, and then I threw some coins in it and called it money down the drain.
Hello. I'm Leonard Bosma. Pleased to be here. I've brought up two vases. The larger one is honey locust. The smaller one is a maple. The honey locust I cut in 2021. Cut a log in half, cut the other half in half. So this is a quarter. Made a cylinder, let it sit for 5 years because wood will crack typically, particularly honey locust. So that's all well and good. I rounded it and then I wanted to put some enhancements on it. And I think you can see on the sides. And how I achieve that is I just turned the log sideways, spun it there, and inserted a parting tool or a badan and just put it in for a predetermined depth, rotated it using the index on the lathe, and did it 4 times. So it's an enhancement without much anything other than just the turning itself. I left it natural because of the honey locust. It's a beautiful wood, but you can also paint it if you scan over to the maple. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Doug Brinks. I'm a wood turner. I've been a wood turner for 13 years now. Thank you. Let's see, I think August of the year 24, I did a demonstration on these cabriole legs. I finally got around to making a table out of it. My wife we needed a small round table to put between the lounge chair and the sofa. So I'm like, okay, I'll make a little something small that'll fit in there. So got around to making that. I've been trying to come up with new items to put at the gallery I'm in, because I don't tend to have too many small things for sale that are like less than $50. So I went through and I got a bunch of burl cutoffs that I just throw in a bucket and set on shelves. And so I finally decided maybe I'll take those and make little boxes, a lidded box. And then Daryl DeRuyter brought in a little rectangular lidded box that had a burl top on it. And it was really beautifully made with a wave lid on it. He carved the whole thing. But that gave me the idea that maybe I can use those burls and try to save the top of it and make a natural edge lidded vessel. So I made like 10 of these the other day. I'm going to bring them to the gallery and see how they go over. The Celtic wedding goblet with the attached rings. That'll be our demonstration next month. So I will show you the highly technical skill needed to interweave these rings, And if you've seen The Magician, they wrap the rope around stuff and they bring it over top and then suddenly the handcuffs are off. It's similar to that. So we'll discuss that next month at my, my demonstration. The box? Yeah, just a nice little box. You put what you want in there. I was telling Jeff Grill, I was doing shows before the pandemic, and I was at a show. I think a show was over in Rochester Hills. It was a really nice show. Their Apples and Arts Festival, and this lady who was probably 10 years older than myself came to my booth, and I had a box similar to that was, I don't know if it had a natural edge on it, but it didn't look like a box. It all flowed really nicely. And this lady, she was 10 years older than me or so. She's like, so what is that? I said, it's a box. I opened it up. She goes, oh, and you can put anything in there. I said, yeah. She goes, oh, I know what I'm putting in that. I got to have that. Because I've been looking for a place to hide my weed from my kids. I'm like, okay, well, that'll do it. So one of those funny stories. That's all I got. What's that? Probably, but I don't.
Good morning. I'm Tom Penninga. I've been a wood turner for, I don't know, 8 years or so. About 6 months ago, I brought in some tops that I had done Ron Vincent's dipping in
I know.
acrylic paint. And since then, I've done hundreds more, and I'm getting better at it. And I think these just turned out, every time we pull one out of the paint, we'd go, ooh, look at that one. And so anyway, these are part of the last batch I do. I sell some of them, but most of them I give away. But in May, after Gary's demonstration, we're going to have a hands-on workshop in the back. I think we're going to have it. And anybody who wants to learn how to do that dipping process, they can benefit maybe from some of the mistakes I've made and learn how not to do. So, like what kind of paint to use and how to suspend them so that the paint adheres, etc. So anyway, we're going to have a workshop on how to do these in May.
Dave, are you there online? Do we have any people online?
We do not have any hands raised online. I guess I'll give one last chance if anybody has something. Talk now.
You don't have something right there in front of you, Dave, you can quick do show and tell with?
I do not.
All right, we're going to take a break then. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so, and we'll get on to our demonstration.